Hello and welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Casey Kummer along with Logan Bourandas and Reinert, and tonight we will be breaking down Penn State's prospects in the 2021 NFL Draft. The Nittany Lions proved to have a strong draft class this year during Pro Day a few weeks back. Micah Parsons and Jason Oweh were arguably the team's top performers, but the talent is there across the board. Parsons is the headliner for the Nittany Lions despite opting out last year. But do you think his decision not to play affected his draft position at all? Logan?
No, Casey, I think that Micah Parsons, if he were to play or not, I think that he's pretty much set at where he is right now. And if he were to kind of slide down those draft boards, it wouldn't be because he didn't play. It would be more because of character issues. There have been rumors that kind of came out about stuff that Micah Parsons did while he was here at Penn State. So if there were a reason for him to fall down those boards, it would be because of that. And I don't even think it would be that far. Right now, Parsons is a top 10 draft pick in my mind, and he could potentially slide down to the top 15, somewhere around there, but I think he's pretty much set at where he is right now. And looking elsewhere in that top area, Jamar Chase opted out of the season last year for LSU, but he's still projected to be the top receiver in this draft. So I don't think the fact that he opted out is really that big of an issue for Parsons, and if he were to drop down, it would be because of those character issues.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, Logan. Listen, it's no secret that Micah Parsons is a dog. People have been looking at this guy ever since he was in high school. Five-star recruit coming out of high school, absolutely balled out at Penn State. Didn't even play middle linebacker until he got to the collegiate level. He played edge when he was at Harrisburg High School, There's absolutely no reason for him to not be drafted in the top 10 of this NFL draft. I could see him going to the Denver Broncos, I could see him going to the Lions or the Carolina Panthers. It would absolutely dumbfound me if he doesn't get drafted in the top 10.
With a 4.39 40 time at 246 pounds, Parsons can definitely be an asset for any team. Though when it comes to his character, which has been brought into question over the last few weeks, and for the lack of a better word, cockiness he portrayed during his Pro Day interview, another year of play could have helped his overall image of being a team player and emerging with the "we are" mindset of Penn State. But I agree it most likely did not affect his position in the draft. Looking at his teammate Pat Freiermuth, the all-Big Ten tight end did not participate in the entirety of Pro Day due to season-ending surgery he had on his right shoulder back in November. While he was happy with his Pro Day performance, do you think this will hurt him in the 2021 NFL Draft? Logan?
Yeah, I think it will. And other than this one savage moment he had in the first game of the season against Indiana, there weren't really a lot of highlights with Pat Freiermuth. And part of that was just because he didn't play too much. And looking at the tight end class, it was really a battle between him and Kyle Pitts as the top tight end in this draft class. And unfortunately for Freiermuth, Kyle Pitts had an amazing season in Florida. He's one of the best tight ends, one of the best playmakers on the offensive side of the ball in the country. So Pitts is going to go in the top 10, maybe in the top 5 in this NFL draft. But I think that Freiermuth, he could potentially slide late first round, maybe not even get drafted on the first day at all, get drafted early second round. I think if he were to get drafted in the first round, a team like Buffalo could definitely be a great fit for him. Tyler Kroft, he's okay at tight end, but I think Freiermuth would be a lot better. But I think he could find himself being a day 2 pick early on. Teams like Jacksonville, the Jets, Carolina, Cincinnati, a team like that could really benefit from Freiermuth. But overall, I think he would have really benefited from a full season because he played great when he did play, but it wasn't really too many games.
Yeah, I think me and you are on the same wavelength with this, Logan. I mean, I completely agree with everything you said. Pat Freiermuth, unfortunately for him, Kyle Pitts is a thing, you know? Kyle Pitts, representing the Philadelphia Catholic League, I see you, man. But, you know, it's just hard for a guy like that, especially coming off an injury, to compete with a freak athlete like Kyle Pitts. And not only that, all these great wide receivers that are in this class, such as Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, it's pretty clear to see, why he would fall in the draft. I do see him going the second round as early as like Jacksonville, the first pick of the second round, because I could see him being a great asset to a great young quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, who I think the Jaguars are going to take.
In a post-Pro Day interview, Freiermuth commented on his performance saying, quote, "I think it helped me because I was able to show teams I was recovered from my shoulder." While he was not able to record his 40 time at Pro Day, he is confident that he will be able to prior to the draft, which could potentially bump him up in the first round, in my opinion. But I think he'll prove his worth once he hits the field again. Looking at the entire Penn State draft class, it is filled with players who could fly under the radar on most draft boards. So Charles, who is the most underrated Penn State player in the NFL draft, and where is a potential landing spot for him?
I really like Shaka Toney going in like the 6th or 7th round to the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, he wasn't the biggest playmaker at Penn State, but he plays fast. He ran a great 40-yard dash at the Pro Day, had a great Pro Day all around. He plays fast, he's got great hands. He needs some time to develop though, and I really think this young, hungry Colts defense led by Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner will be a great spot for him to learn and develop and to help him maybe move to like a different position like outside linebacker where he could really show off that speed. He's got, like I said, he's got great hands, great feet. I think he could be a great pick in the 6th or 7th round where you're really looking for value anyway.
Yeah, Charles, and staying on the defensive side of the ball, not really a steal in terms of draft boards, but really a steal just based off his play last year. Jason Oweh going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Jason Oweh, he's seen as a guy who can go in the late first round, but he kind of flies under the radar just because he had the same amount of sacks as me and you had combined last year for this Penn State team. He couldn't get to the quarterback once last year, where he had 5 sacks in his last full season in 2019. So Jason Oweh is a guy who had to show up in his pro day, and he did. He ran under a 4.4 40-yard dash, kind of showed off his freakish athleticism, Oweh did. So I think going to a team like Tampa Bay could really help him out, going to learn under defensive linemen like Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh, guys who have been where he is before. And once his number is called finally for the Buccaneers, I think he'll be in a position to really show out because he's a guy who needs a little bit of time to grow. And I think that going to a team like Tampa Bay, a veteran team like Tampa Bay, would really help him out.
I agree, Logan. Oweh is definitely a player that has seemed to fly under the radar, especially with a seemingly less than impressive on-paper performance this past season. But with only being slightly lighter than Parsons and his insane 40 time, he is a rare, one-of-a-kind athlete that could be an incredible asset for a team. He would be my best guess for a second Nittany Lion going in the first round of the draft. Oweh was one of 8 former Nittany Lions that were looking to turn some heads at Pro Day. 6 of them, Parsons, Oweh, Freiermuth, Tony, Will Fries, and Michael Menet, were all invited to the NFL Combine. With the large crop of talent, what stands out to you the most from this group of players? Charles?
Well, to keep it simple, the amount of talent that this Penn State football team really has. I know their record didn't really reflect it this year, going 8-8, but you got guys like Micah Parsons here who didn't play, and I guarantee you if he played this past season, they would have done much better record-wise. But you got him, you got Shaka Toney, Jason Oweh. They can have great implications in the next step in the National Football League of great defensive players that came from Penn State University. James Franklin's done a great job recruiting. I don't really think that's much of a secret anymore, but I'm really excited to see what these guys can do at the next level.
Yeah, and Penn State hasn't had a first-round draft pick in quite some time, so there's a potential to have 3 first-round draft picks there. But looking at the defensive side of the ball, the athleticism with this group is insane. I mean, I mentioned Jason Oweh's 40 time before. Micah Parsons wasn't too far behind him, and then Shaka Toney had around a 4.5 40, and his vertical was insane. He was one of the best verticals at that pro day, so he could definitely be a guy to show out in the late rounds. And a guy like Lamont Wade had a slightly faster 40 time than Shaka Toney did, but he can provide great depth on a secondary as well. And all 4 of these defensive players can be key pieces to whatever team they land up with in the next level.
Well said, Charles and Logan. Penn State has undeniably great potential in this year's draft. After not having a single player go in the first round in both the 2019 and 2020 drafts, it is exciting that there could potentially be 2, maybe even 3 players being called on day 1. That's all we have for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Logan Bourandas and Charles Reinert, I'm Casey Kummer. Thanks for watching and have a great night.
Thank you for watching this edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also, follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.